And the devil trying to come in and change the heart. He trying to switch up the game a lot. So it's like the heart, bring it from the heart.
Friday Night Live with Cat Carter. Get ready, set, let's go. Come on. It's Friday night. It's Friday Night Live. It's Friday night. It's Friday night with Cat Carter. It's Friday night. Hey. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. Yeah. It's Friday night with Cat Carter. It's Friday night. It's Friday night live. It's Friday night. It's Friday night with Cat Carter.
Hey, welcome to Friday Night Live. I am your host, Cat Carter. How is everybody doing this evening? Okay, a little house cleaning. We are finally back in the house after 3.5 months living in the hotel. Thank you, Jesus. We moved back in Monday. Everybody is doing fine. It feels good to be back in my own bed. Thank you so much for your prayers and your concerns and checking on me. All right. So, if you are here tonight, my big brother, Uncle Earl, is in the house. He has been here before, and it's been a minute. And I tell you what, if you are here tonight, you are at the right place at the right time. We're going to be having great conversation. We're going to list some of his projects, and I promise you, you are going to be inspired and encouraged tonight. But let me tell you just a little bit about him now. His bio is like very long, and then I really don't have a lot of time to read everything, but I'll just give like a few bullet points, and then I'm going to introduce him to you guys. Okay. So Earl, Uncle E, Earl Carter, is a Washington, D.C. based multi instrumentalist and music producer whose multifaceted talent, professionalism, and star quality has officially put him in the class of Billboard recording artists. In his early years, Earl secured a spot as a member of the platinum selling group Experience Unlimited, that was commonly known as EU. And they actually recorded music for the soundtrack Do the Right Thing. Do y'all remember that movie? That was a Spike Lee production. And the live music video entitled Go Go Live at the Capitol Center. Let me see. Some of the people that he has performed with, as far as artists, locally, nationally, internationally, he's been in this game for a while. Marcus Johnson, Allison Williams, Freddie Jackson, Angela Bofield. Regina Bell. Let me see. Jakeem Joyner. Oh my gosh. Bob Baldwin. Tony Terry. Let's see. He has performed artist opening acts for Parliament Funkadelic. Now I know y'all know who these people are. Spyro Gyra, Pieces of a Dream, oh my goodness, and many, many more. Please welcome back to Friday Night Live, my big brother, Earl Carter. And
What's up?
there he is. Hey, Earl, how you doing? Yes,
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
good. I am fantastic now that you're back on here. We haven't had you for a minute. I'm just so excited to have you back on the show. Um, And I know you got some great things that we're going to be talking about, some of the projects and everything. And it's just good to see you. Um, yeah. So how do we get started? My goodness, I'm trying to think of this last time you was on here. Has it been a year? Has it been
It
2 years?
it's been a while. It's I don't remember, but it's somewhere in
Been that
between
long,
there.
right?
Like maybe a year and a half. It's been a
No,
while.
a year and a half. Well, we are
Yeah, let's
we
let's
are
let's go with a year and a half.
year and a half. Yeah, I'll take a year and a half. Well, we are honored to have you back on the show. That's for sure. All
Yeah.
right, Earl. Well, I want to tell you guys that I have kidnapped Earl for the entire hour. So he's going to be hanging out with us for the entire hour. So you all hold on to your seats. All right. So we'll just start off a little bit for people that may not know who you are, just little basic questions like who inspired you? Like,
All right.
well, first of all, you are a multi instrumentalist. So what type of instruments do you play? I
Ah,
know that
I play I play about 12 instruments actually. Um,
you're your
but
own one band.
yeah, I mean I can be. Uh,
Hmm.
I prefer to work with other people though and collaborate because you get creative juices flowing and different ideas
Yeah.
when you work together. But the main instruments that I play, I'm known for playing guitar, and then I play bass and uh, brass and woodwinds, so horns,
Wow.
keyboards. Uh, some of them I'm stronger on than others, so
Hmm.
I lean towards those because I put more time in with them. I actually was self-trained on everything except for the winds and the brass. Those are ones that I'm formally trained on.
Did you say you
But then
self trained yourself?
Yeah, like
Wow.
guitar, bass, keys, different instruments. I'm self-taught on all of that. The only ones I formally
Wow.
learned were four of them: sax, flute, trumpet, and trombone. Those four. Um,
Wow.
but the winds, I put much more time in the into the woodwinds than I did in the brass. But yep, yep. The
Wow.
ones that I play the most, the ones that I get most of the calls for that people know I play are the ones I'm self-taught on.
That says a lot. So like you can basically play by ear. Like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. But
That is
yeah, I play by ear, but I bought the books. So I actually taught myself when I was 11 and 12. I bought the books from Music and Arts,
mhm.
um, and taught myself how to read the music as well. So when I eventually picked
Ooh.
up the horns in school, um, I had an edge because I had already taught myself how to actually read guitar. Um, but I got a lot better reading on the horns because I had an instructor, a music teacher.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so they got to a point because I was when I was in high school, my parents were moving. They were retiring, so they were in the process of moving from D.C. to their hometown back in Tappahannock, Virginia. That's where Chris
Okay.
Brown is from. I ended up graduating from the same high school he graduated from because it's not a lot. That's the only one in town.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I went to school in D.C. and then while the house being built, um, the house we were living in was sold, so they moved to
Mhm.
a townhouse temporarily, and so that was in Suitland. So I ended up going to Suitland. So I went to Anacostia. That's where I put in most of my time as far as shedding on the horns, and then I went, which is in D.C., and then Suitland, which is in
Okay.
Maryland, and then ended up in Virginia, Tappahannock, Virginia, because that's where my parents were retiring to. Um, so by the time I got there, I had practiced so much that they put me in a room by myself to play the line. They said, "When we get it together, we'll call you out." So because I was so far ahead of the concert band and stuff. So because I was playing in Suitland, they had a jazz ensemble as well. So I had been shedding there as well. So yeah, by the
Wow.
time I got there, they had me in a room by myself. They said, "We'll call you when
Wow.
we're ready." Yeah.
Wow. I am still, Earl. I am still tripping that you self-taught a lot of those instruments. That makes you like a musical genius almost. Like that's not
Yeah.
easy to do. I mean, maybe one instrument, but like that. Wow, that's something to me. So, what do you enjoy most about being a musician?
Um, I enjoy the freedom to travel and perform on different stages around the world. Actually, I enjoy that's the part where you connect with the people, with the audience. So
Hmm.
when I started, I wasn't as comfortable because I'm an introvert. Um,
Me too.
so oh, okay, all right.
Believe
S-
it or not,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but once I got comfortable with it, I got to the point where I treat the stage like it's my living room or something. So I'm so comfortable on stage now, it's not funny because I'm more comfortable on stage than off stage because I can
Wow.
just be free and have a good time. And then I enjoy being in the studio, which is the opposite. That's the introvert part kicking in, where you're in a recording studio just working on your projects and
Hmm.
writing material and producing other projects and so forth. So and then I don't get bored that way too because I have a tendency to want to do different things. I guess that's why I play a lot of instruments because I'm not I'm not satisfied with just doing one thing all the time. So I actually build amplifiers, which is a part of the music business as well, but on the back end, or the you know, it's like in engineering where I build
Mhm.
amplifiers and test them for Paul Reed Smith, which is one of the um, one of the largest guitar manufacturers in the U.S.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so that's fun. Building the amplifiers and testing them, that's fun. But building, the reason I'm bringing this up is because building the guitars uh, is boring to me, and I'll tell you why. Because
Hmm.
well, it's because Paul Reed Smith has gotten so large. Now they're one of the top three now, as far
Mhm.
as electric guitars. They're so large that it's like an assembly line. So if I'm helping to build guitars, I may just be soldering one thing all day, and I'm
Right.
like, oh no, no, no. When I'm building the amplifiers, I'm all over. I'm set building circuit boards, cabinets, a whole, a bunch of stuff going on for that. It's a lot of moving parts there. I get to do all of it as opposed to just one thing. That bores me if I'm just doing one thing for 8 hours.
I have a question about the guitars. I know, like with the
Hmm.
saxophones, there are different sounds. You have a alto
Hmm.
saxophone. You may have a soprano
Yep.
saxophone. Is it like that with guitars too? Are there different types of tones or stuff with the guitars?
Yeah. So all right. Well, let's back up to the saxophones again. So that's pretty straightforward because it's the same as vocalists, right? You get you
Mm-hmm.
soprano, obviously is higher, then you have your alto, and you
Mm-hmm.
have your tenor, you have your baritone. So that's pretty self-explanatory. But with guitars, it's different tones. That that applies, but there's more to it than that as well because you have a regular six string, which has it has a wide range, not as much as a piano,
Mm-hmm.
but you can do a lot with one. You can play an entire song with a classical guitar, for example. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, then you have baritones, which are the neck maybe a little longer and it's a little deeper. But then you have a bass, electric bass, which
Okay.
is which is considered a different instrument, but it's not. It is, but it isn't because it's a guitar with thicker strings. It's bigger and yeah, of course the notes are lower. Um, what else? What else? Oh, one of the young ladies that I used to go over we used to work over in Ethiopia a lot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she'd be on stage and she'd describe the bass. Oh, you can't see. Let me see. How can I make this way? Yeah, this is her bass. She stretch her
That
hand out.
long?
She's so what she's saying if she wants to describe the bass, she does this. Yeah,
That, oh,
that
okay.
instrument
Yeah.
right there. Yes, But but the other thing is when I said classical guitar, see that has nylon strings, sounds different than the electric guitar, which has steel strings, and they don't sound. They have they're in the same register, but they don't sound the same. Um, you have play a jazz box, which has a richer, deeper tone. It's a big, it's as thick as a acoustic guitar, but
Okay.
it's wired like an electric, like rock guitars. They're wired the same. And you have bass is a whole different ball game. Then I actually play another bass that a lot of people don't play. It's the same bass, but if you put thin strings on it, they call it a lead bass when you're playing your solos. It used to be called piccolo bass.
Piccolo.
Stanley Clark and a couple other guys came up with that idea.
Okay.
So,
So
so
you
I
play
just named
mostly
a lot
bass?
of. See, it's a lot of different stuff going on with the
Yeah.
guitars.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
didn't know that. But I was always curious about that. So you play
Hmm.
mostly the bass, or which particular ones do you play? You don't play all
Mostly
of them.
mostly lead or
Lead.
electric.
Okay.
Yeah, six string electric mostly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's take a break and listen to one of your projects. The first one is My Favorite Things. Give us a little background about that song.
Okay, so it's a John Coltrane song that it was in a movie, I think, Sound of Music or something like that. With not his rendition, but like a movie score rendition
Hmm.
or something. And people tend to, uh, I don't know if it's because of the lyrics or what, but it's played on Christmas, around Christmas time a lot. So
Yeah.
people kind of adopted it as a Christmas song, but it's actually um, it's a year round song. But
Okay.
if on my videos you'll see where I play the different instruments that we just mentioned. But yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. And I when I released it, I had a picture of my bass, my six string electric, or no, I think it was the jazz box. Yeah, my jazz box, my bass, and my sax are on the cover as my
Okay.
favorite. They're my favorite things.
All right. Well, let's take a listen. I hope you all enjoy Earl Carter.
Hey.
I don't know what I did. I was so into the music. I love the melody of it. It was really nice and crisp, and I don't know. I was just in here and I didn't realize it was over. I apologize. So
Good, good. All right, then it did what it was supposed to do. Then, all right.
beautiful rendition, beautiful
Thank you,
rendition. Oh
thank
my goodness, my favorite things. All right. So I have a question. How do you balance your other obligations in life, like family, etc.? How do you balance your music and your other important obligations?
Hmm. I do a lot of juggling, and if you remember, I'm sure you remember, wasn't that long ago. We were going to
Mm.
do this back in July.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I had so much going on.
yeah.
Um,
You did.
yeah, that I actually had so much going on as far as life in general. Like what you just said, trying to balance it. I had so much on my plate that I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
And I had to cancel. I had to cancel a lot of dates because it had gotten so stressful that I just needed a break,
yeah,
and I had to take care of some personal, family
yeah, yeah,
things and all that. So I've been balancing all of that for decades. I've been around a long time, but at some point, um, when you get so much on your plate, and the reason I'm gonna tell you why it got to that point, because um, I try to work with everybody. And sometimes, I don't like, I didn't, I do now, but I didn't like saying no. And I think because a lot of folk know that I take a lot of pride in what I do, and I'm
yeah,
going to get the job done. So if they call me for something, I'm going to be there an hour early, and I'm going to be prepared,
it's gonna
and
be done
they're not
right.
going to be
Yeah.
stressed out. Yeah,
Hmm.
but so that therefore I got calls, email, text, social media. I mean, it just it got to and I'm trying to take every assignment, and it was too much. It was just too much. So
Yeah.
I had to take a break, and I actually took a break from gigging. I called myself taking a break from gigging by clearing my calendar of Earl Carter performances. But then just got so many people were like, "Okay, I don't see him gigging, so he must be available." So then the phone
There
just
we go.
blew up even more. And one of my buddies, Greg Carpenter, we stay in touch a lot, and he'll call me. He says, "Man, you need to come out of retirement so that you can get a break." I said, "Oh wow, okay, I hear you. Come out of retirement so that
Yeah,
I
that's
get a break."
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I understand what you mean about no. I had to learn that too, that no is a complete sentence. And it's okay
yeah.
because you wind up
Hmm.
stretching yourself out so much. And then, like you said, I got burned out, blowout, just burned out.
Same
Like
here.
I had to start, I had to reprioritize because now I'm getting older and I need to start better taking care of myself. I want to be able to see my grandkids and stuff when they come in.
Right.
So I had to kind of shuffle some things. So I get it. I understand you. And then you're a perfectionist as well. You're one of those type of people. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the best that I can. Why do it?
Right.
And you have do it. So
Hmm.
I mean, I get it. I definitely get it. And I definitely understand. And I'm so glad that you were able to take a step back and just take care of you for
Yeah,
a little bit. It's okay to do that every once in a while. Yeah.
yeah. I figure either do that or go to an early grave. So
And we don't want
yeah,
that.
yeah. So what are my options? And
Right.
and like you said, my grands, I have twins, a girl and boy twin, and
Oh,
they
wow.
are yeah, and they are doing some really great things. Uh, in as far as athletics and academically, but as far as sports, each one are in two different sports doing very well, but they're down where I was talking about in Tappahannock.
Hmm.
So, and I was like, I'm just like traveling and gigging all the time. I haven't been able to see any of their games, and especially in the summer when they would on the summer leagues, and
Hmm.
I wanted to make it to them, but I was always obligated. Like, and when I say always, I'm talking 7 days a week for several months, day and night. So it
That
was
is a
rough,
lot.
Yeah, it was too much. No days off.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. Yeah. All right. I wanted to ask you, do you have any hobbies or interests outside of music? But I don't think you have time. Do you like to fish? Do you like to travel? What do you like to do when you do have your free time for yourself?
Well, to be honest, music allows me to travel, so I get to experience different cultures, and
Okay.
that is fascinating to me. Now, it's two different types of traveling, though. So, um, like when I was touring back with EU and
Mm-hmm.
Trouble Funk and those guys, we would go in the back of a arena, a coliseum or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then leave out the back, and we never got to tour the cities. You know what I mean? It's like I can say I visited all of these places, but I didn't experience them because I just came in, did the gig, and left. But that's one type. But then there's the type where, like, let's say Ethiopia, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Those were 3 month uh, stays, and I did a bunch of them. So I get to experience the culture, different culture. Yeah, when I was working with BET as a house musician, doing the different jazz festival, Bermuda Jazz Festival, Ghana Music
Yeah.
Festival, all of that stuff. I got it. I was there at least 2 weeks, and and again, I get to experience the culture. Cruise ships. Did a cruise ship with Brincor. Was that right before the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was like a vacation. In other words, those are like vacations to me. So I don't get if I don't get a real vacation, I can treat those like
As
like a vacation. Yeah,
I understand. I understand.
yeah. Hmm.
So when I was reading your bio, it says that you was the lead guitar and bassist for two variety groups contracted by one of the wealthiest men in the world.
Hmm. He's a
Tell me
billion,
about
multi-billionaire.
tell us
Hmm.
about that.
That's
I
the
don't
one I
want
was
to butcher
talking
his
about.
name.
Ethiopia. So, um, the way that worked, they needed. He has this hotel. It's called the Sheraton Addis. Um, but it's like it looks like a castle, and it's a 5 star. And
Mhm.
he he um he's a billionaire, but he has a millionaire that hires the entertainment, and they were looking for the groups to stay 3 months to make 3 month stays. So they ended up hiring one of the groups I was working with, and we had a ball. 3 months there, then 3 months back home. 3 months there, 3 months back home, and I
Wow.
did that for 3 years, and then went back 2 more years for like a couple of weeks at a time. And so it was a very nice experience. Like I said, we got to learn the culture, and uh, he since he's the since it's being financed by a wealthy guy, we do trips to resorts, and he'd
Yeah.
fly us to it was very, very nice. So it's like when it's kind of like when some people talk about Africa, they say stuff like, well, all I've seen is the Sally Struthers um, feed the children commercials, and everybody's poor and all this, and but when I went over there, I experienced a lot more than that. As a matter of fact, it was more like uh, the fictional movie Coming to America, where, if you know what I mean. That fictional
Yeah.
movie was more like reality than people realize.
Yeah, those commercials can be very deceptive.
Hmm.
And one thing I can say about my parents, every year we would travel. So we would leave
Good,
the United States. I've been to
good.
all over the place, and that was a good. I didn't realize it as a child. I was just having fun, but
Hmm.
as a woman, that was a good experience for me to see different cultures and see that it like you could see the third world. We were at some of the third world countries, but
Hmm.
like bringing up Africa, like looking at those commercials, I had a perception
Right.
but that's what it was. And then you get over there and is not, that's like you said, it's not, that's not what it is.
No.
So yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
I get it. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we're already at the half mark. Can you believe that?
Okay. All right.
Goes
Time is
fast, doesn't it?
flying.
I know. So
Mhm.
I want to do the trivia now. So show them what they're gonna get if they win the trivia tonight, Earl.
Ah, so this probably a little hard to see here, but this is one of my CDs is titled Silky. This is the most recent one, and I actually featured. Oh, there you go. Nice, nice. Zoom in. Um, you're sharp with that equipment. All right. Okay, so featured on the front. I think I have most of them featured. Kim Joyner, Marion Meadows, David Dyson, Marcus Johnson, Philip Doc Martin, Patrick Cooper. They're all, each one of them are on one of these songs as featured artists. So some of my buddies came in and helped me out. And when I say came in, they didn't actually physically have to come here. Everybody has their own studio, so they just. As a matter of fact, I did 2 CDs. This again, this one's titled Silky. I did 2 of my projects in Ethiopia during that 3-year stay,
Wow.
with a back and forth traveling, did 3 months here, 3 months there. In my hotel room, I would just send the files back and forth, and my musician would send them to me. So I actually did 2 of the projects in my hotel room with the musicians doing it in their homes
Wow.
over here in the U.S. And that's
Wow.
how we did this one. We just send files back and forth.
Okay. So while they're trying to figure out the trivia, we're going to do another one of your songs. We're going to do House of the
Okay.
Rising Sun. So give us a little
Okay.
background of that.
Okay. So when I teach lessons, which I haven't had time to do lately, I think I will start back once. But again, I can't do as much as I used to. It's just too much. I was doing Charlie too much. But one of the songs in the music books is The House of the Rising Sun. So it sounded nice, and the students, they pick it up quickly. It's one for the beginner students because it's not
Mhm.
real difficult, but it just has a nice feel. So when I pulled it up, it was by a band from way back called The Animals. And I said, you know what? That's a nice song. I like that. So when I was at PRS, I was testing an amplifier in a booth. I'll test them in a like it's like a vocal booth.
Mhm.
And there's a guy beside me. He's in another vocal booth testing an amp, and he's playing that song on his
Hmm.
guitar. And I said, you know what? I need to remake that song because I like it. It's got a cool vibe, and it's from way, way back in the day. I said, let me go ahead and remake it, and that's why I ended up doing a
Okay.
cover of it. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do the trivia and then we're going to listen to House of the Rising Sun. Um, Earl, take a break, rest your voice, and we will be right back. Okay.
All right.
All right. Here is the trivia question for tonight. Human beings are identified by their fingerprints. How are dogs identified? Is it by their nose prints, back paw prints, front paw prints, or tongue prints? Put what you think it is in the comments, and we're going to enjoy Earl Carter, House of the Rising Sun. All right, there you go. I had you on mute. I have to mute us
Okay.
when we're playing the music so it doesn't have any like it's a more clear sound. Figured that
Okay.
out.
Cool. All
All
right.
right. I like that. House of the Rising Sun. That tune sounds very familiar to me as well. I have heard that before.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. All
Yeah.
right, are you go ahead. No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I actually, I actually did that one. I want to say last year, so that's kind of current, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
The I could really hear the sound. Was that the bass? The doo-doo? I was, my ears are so sensitive. I can hear like just everything. I was like, oh my gosh, he is. My goodness, that was good.
That sounded like a bass that you just
I
mimicked.
thought
So,
it was, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, I was like, whoa,
mhm. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So you do give instructions? Are they virtual or are they in person? When you do.
So I used to, before the pandemic, I used to give in-person lessons, and the students would either come to my studio or I'd go to their home. Um, and I didn't do any virtual lessons before the pandemic. But it's funny how things work out.
Mm-hmm.
Right before they shut down, I was on a gig with a friend of mine, Scott Paddock. Scott Paddock's a sax player, real nice player. And he was on tour all across Europe with a group over there. He was playing the large stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was home, and we won a gig together. And he mentioned the virtual lessons, and I was like, well, I like to play along with the student and make sure that their timing is correct and so forth. Um, and I'm not sure how that would work with virtual. So he says, well, you know what? You actually there's a way because I found out later that the latency problems can be resolved. But
Okay.
even if you did have that problem, he was saying, you know what we do is we take turns. I play, they play. So he's like, why do you have to play together? You show them what you want them to do, and then they do what you ask them to do. And if it's correct, you say that's correct. If it's incorrect, say no, that's not what we were doing. Let's try it again. So basically, he was saying I was making it more complicated than it needed to be. You can take turns. You don't absolutely have to play together. But I found once one of my students, I think she's real tech savvy. She showed me how to make the adjustments so that you could play together actually. And then
Oh,
then I had another student over in LA because I was doing a lot of but during the pandemic. And long story short, Scott Paddock told me what to do. When he did that, he was preparing me for the pandemic and he didn't know it.
you didn't even
But
know it.
yeah, exactly. So that worked out real well. So during the pandemic, two interesting things occurred. What's her name? Monica. With she's with she was with Brownstone, which was Michael Jackson's female singing group in the 90s.
Okay.
They had a couple of hit songs. I was teaching her husband online, and then she came. He said, "Guess who's no fiance? Her fiance." And he said, "Guess who's over here?" And it was Monica. So he asked us to do a duet together. She was singing, I think it was "My Funny Valentine," and I was playing it, and she was singing it. And you would think that we were in the same room, and it was no off. No, the timing was like perfect, and that's after the other student had showed me what to do. So yeah, so it was, but it was kind of cool that worked out. And one more interesting thing happened during the pandemic. I got a call from I guess they're like a liaison. They were calling me about their client. They wanted their client to have a guitar lesson as one of her gifts, one of her birthday gifts. And her fiance, again, I keep saying husband is the fiance. This is another one. The fiance was paying for it. So since they couldn't go out and celebrate, he was going to give her everything right there in the living room. So everything was being brought to her via online. So I was the guitar lesson. So it's funny thing was, so I don't really pay attention to the students while I'm teaching them. I'm paying attention to their fingers and their guitar, make sure they're doing it right, that they're doing what I'm asking them to do. So with the liaison called me later and said, how did the session go? I said it went well. So she says, yeah, I'm glad it did because, a lot of people, she screened her instructors because a lot of people get like starstruck or whatever, and I'm like, what is she talking about? Yeah. And I said, okay, I see, that makes sense. So when she saw my credits and stuff, she figured I'd be the perfect one to teach her because I'd worked with celebrities, Grammy platinum artists and Grammy award winning artists and stuff. So I said, well, who was it? Because I didn't pay attention. She said, that was Tyra Banks. I said, oh, okay, my bad. All right. I said, my bad, I'm sorry. So I gave Tyra Banks.
Fingers.
Yeah, exactly. I gave Tyra Banks. I know she looked familiar. I said, she looked like somebody I know. But I didn't put two and two together until the liaison said. So when she started talking about her, wanting to be low key and all that, I'm like, well, who was she? Said Tyra Banks. I said, oops. Okay. All right, that's what's up.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's a good story. Mm-hmm. That's a good memory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who would you most like to collaborate with that you haven't already? I mean, you've been with many great artists. My goodness gracious, and the list goes on and on. Is there somebody that you would like to collaborate with that you haven't with already?
Yeah, I was going to set up the show, and then the pandemic hit. There's a couple other guitar players that I wanted to work with, and they were both in. We were going to do a trio performance at Ram's Head, but then the pandemic hit, and that was Paul Jackson Jr. and Ken Navarro. and a lot of people, um, they are, how would I put it? Musicians. They're guitars, if you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean. Paul Jackson, Ken Navarro is from Maryland, like myself, um, and Paul Jackson Jr. is L.A. based. Paul, if you go on, what is that? What is that called? I forgot the name of it, but there's a database online, and I'm actually on it as well as far as album credits. But a lot of them I didn't get my credits, but I still have a nice list. Paul Jackson Jr.'s list of studio recording credits goes on and on forever. It's like it starts in the '70s and it goes all the way up to today. And you've heard him on, I can't even tell you how many hits without you don't know it. But he's these
He's on
signature
it. Yeah.
guitar lines on these mega hits. He's the guy playing that stuff. Like I mean, just insane. I don't know if there's any other musician with as many album credits as
That's
him.
him.
But very humble guy, and he's kind of we've been in touch. We end up on gigs together. Like I'm playing with another group or something, and then he's playing with a different one. But I wanted to collaborate with Paul and Ken Navarro for a live performance.
Okay. Maybe that would happen, hopefully. All right.
Hmm.
Do you have any new projects or events or anything that you want to tell us about that are coming up?
Um. So here's the thing. Like I said, I pulled all of my shows, and I just recently decided that I'm going to go out again.
Okay.
Now, I was going out. So don't get me wrong. I was going out, but I wasn't doing my shows. The only thing I did was private, like private engagements. Um, the
Mm-hmm.
reggae band, and praise and worship at church. Um,
Okay.
but the reggae band works like during the summer. They just work like, I mean, they get so many shows. It's insane. So I couldn't do all of them, but I did a lot of work. But I haven't set up my calendar yet as far as my shows, and then as far as the projects, I'm releasing singles right now, and I'm going to re-release some of the projects that I did before because I'd actually signed a major distribution deal that was it wasn't it wasn't a good deal. I thought it would be, but it wasn't. And I found
Mm-hmm.
out a lot of other artists um, during that era had
The
been in the
same
same
way.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, a lot. From Boys to Men to John P. Key. I actually did a cover of one of his songs, and we ended up talking. Um, and I was telling him because I needed to pay him for his um, what do you call it? His royalties.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I hadn't paid them was because the label said they were taking care of all. It was a gospel project, and I didn't even want to do the project because they didn't give me a decent deadline, so I had to like just rush through it. And I don't like rushing and throwing out anything. But so John P. Keek reached out to me about it, and I said, well, I'll pay you for it because I know how it is because I had a deal where it was multiple artists on the label, um, and they told me that my project was selling, but the others weren't. So they're going to recoup their losses with my project. And then I found out that Motown did the same thing to Boys and Men, and John P. Key was like, my label did the same thing to me. So so we were like, oh,
Oh,
this is
wow.
common, you know. So I pulled everything, and I'm gonna re-release it as an independent now. So I have all that on the
You can
plate
control that
to
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have one quick question. I hope we can get
Mhm.
it through right quick. Um, Brian Barzy from New York, the Bronx, he wants to know who were your musical influences?
Oh, musical. So um s- when I was I was about 10 or 11, and I saw Return to Forever on playing a concert on TV. And when I saw Stanley Clark wailing on that bass, I said, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to play bass. So the main inspiration was Stanley Clark, and then Jimi Hendrix, um, and Wes Montgomery. But the reason I ended up doing more guitar than bass is my brother was a guitarist already, and he told me that if I picked up bass, I would certainly know how to play the guitar. But if I picked up the guitar, the way that the, um, the way that they're tuned, I'd at least understand how to play the bass, because there's a different tuning to the guitar. One of the strings they move up to a different, instead of fourths, they go a third, so it kind of throws it off. So I ended up focusing more on guitar than bass because of that. And then they didn't offer guitar in school, so that's why I ended up picking up the horns.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Stanley Clark was the first, and then Larry Graham, and then Prince, definitely Prince, Jimi Hendrix, and Wes Montgomery, and George Benson.
Oh yeah, George Benson. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but my favorite are like for the horns, Charlie Parker and John Coltrane.
Coltrane. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but yeah.
All right. Well,
Mhm.
the clock on the wall says that's about all. We got to do the trivia. We down to the
Oh, yeah, we
last
ran
5
out
minutes.
already.
I know, and I want to play
That
one more
time,
of
that
your. I want to play
okay.
one more of your songs, the pocket. Before I want
All
to
right.
leave out with that. Is that okay? But I want
Yo,
you.
absolutely.
You got quite a few people that came by to support you and listen to you. So I
Mhm.
definitely want to recognize the people on the feed. So we're going to do a quick Sherryl shout out so you can see who's on here, and then we're going to close it out with pocket and let you have some final words. Is that okay?
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Okay.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. So let me get Cheryl going. I can't. I don't have access to stream. Okay. She doesn't have access. Something's going on with her computer, so I got to do it. Okay. So
Okay.
we have. First, want to give a shout out to both of my media directors. I have my daughter here, and I have Karan Edmonds on Twitch. Ada Foster Auntie is on here. Walter Williams is on here. My mom, Shirley MBC, is on here. Tina Wilson and Bonnie Wilson is on here. Elder Donna O'Neill is on here. Florida Stan is over there on Twitch. Tony T, welcome. She's on here. Marilyn Ford, she's on here. Pastor Charles Neal, welcome everybody. Brian Barzy, Mrs. Gerald, Donovan Marks is on here. Essie Morris is on here as well. Welcome everybody. Welcome in. Lady LaCarl Jackson is on here. Portland Nisi Ward. You have so many people on here. Let's see. Corey Coleman is on here. And Nicolayan Andrews. Am I saying that correct? And then we have some
Nikolai.
people. Nikolai, you know who that is? You know
Mhm.
who some of those people were there? All right.
Yeah, I
So,
know who most of them are. Yeah.
oh,
Mhm.
good, good. And then we
As a
have
matter
some
of fact,
people.
three of them that you mentioned are with the reggae band that plays like crazy in the summer.
Oh,
Tony T
wow.
owns it. Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
Hey, Tony T. And then we have some
Hmm.
people in the Lurk Lounge that are not to say anything, but we definitely appreciate everyone that has tuned in and to hang out with Earl Carter today. Let's do the trivia right quick, Earl. Let me see if you know what the trivia is. So the question, Earl, was human beings are identified by their fingerprints. How are dogs identified? Is it by their nose, their back paw, front paw, or tongue? What do you think?
I think that even though I'm a dog lover, and you saw my cute little
Coco?
dog the other day, I haven't the foggiest idea.
you want, you want to take a guess?
Let's see. What are they now? The paw prints, front paw. Tongue. I don't know. Tongue. I don't know.
The nose. The nose is the correct answer. Our winner
Okay.
tonight is Marilyn Ford. So she's going to win that CD. So I'm going to get you her information so we can send that out to her.
All right. All right.
Earl, I mean, this is my big brother. I just adopted him, and we have the same last name, so
Hmm.
there's nothing he can do about
Hmm.
it. But I just really appreciate you again for coming and hanging out with us. I know that you're very busy and you got a lot going on, but I am honored every time you're able to come and hang out with us on Friday Night Live. Best wishes as you go back after your break and doing the projects and gigs and stuff. Best wishes on all of that. And when time permits, I would love to have you come back again.
All right. I'd love to come back, and I thank you for having me on. And I think, and I appreciate everyone who listened in and supported us. And
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I look forward to the next one. Thank
Tell
you
us
so
about,
much.
yes, sir. Tell us about Pocket, and then we're going to end with that.
Okay. So Pocket is it's an original, and it kind of has a Washington D.C. vibe because I was born and raised in Washington D.C. and I toured with a couple of the biggest go-go bands to come out of that city. So I wanted to do something that had a similar feel, but it's jazz though, but jazz with a slight edge on it, urban edge to it.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you again, Earl Carter. You all send him some hearts and some likes. Thank you so much. We're going to end with this final project. You all join me next week for another exciting guest, and I'll see you next Friday, same time, same platform. Have a wonderful weekend. Say bye to him, Earl. We're getting ready to play your song.
All right. Have a good one.
What's up, guys? Josh Woods here, inside linebacker for the Chicago Bears, number 55, checking in, letting you know that right now you're tuned in to Friday Night Live with my good friend Cat Carter.